Right, second time lucky. So if we can get everyone to have a seat and move as far forward as possible, that would be great. Perfect. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Nau mai, haere mai ki tātou legacy launch, he mihi kia koutou. Welcome to the legacy launch for the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. I see a lot of familiar faces here, but for those of you that I don't know, my name's Anna Green. I've been a member of the Football Ferns for the past 15 years, which is showing my age slightly. In terms of logistics, let's get some health and safety information out of the way first. We encourage you all to wear a mask. Please be seated when you're eating and drinking. And for more details, see the safety protocols that are on the walls. In the event of an alarm, please exit the building via the nearest emergency exit stairwell down to the level 1 foyer and make your way towards the assembly area. The staff will direct you. In the event of an earthquake, drop to the ground, get under cover, and hold on until the shaking has stopped. That's the brief from the stadium. But they've also said that the stadium's designed to move with an earthquake, so you're safer inside than you are out. The toilets are through the door at the back and across the hall to your right. Everything told in terms of safety? Perfect, good to go then. For those of you joining the celebration from work or at home, sit back and enjoy, and thanks for tuning in. It's my absolute pleasure to be here today to support the launch of the Women's World Cup 2023 Legacy Plan. When it comes to legacy, it's important to acknowledge all the players, coaches, referees, administrators and volunteers who have built the platform for girls and women's football in New Zealand. The plan that's been unveiled today looks to build on the foundations that have already been laid by all of the people that have come before. On a personal note, football's played a pivotal role in my life. It's been a big part of shaping my identity, and it's led me to be the person that I am today and the person that I really want to be. It's tested me beyond measure, but in doing so, it's taught me some of my most valuable life lessons. It's provided me the opportunity to pursue a university education, make lifelong friends, and given me a real sense of belonging. It's also opened my eyes up to the immense privilege that I've experienced throughout my entire life, and to the huge inequalities that exist both globally and here in New Zealand. Football truly is a global game, and the opportunity that that brings are endless. I'm really excited that Kiwis are going to get the chance to experience world-class football on home soil. But also by hosting this World Cup and from this legacy plan, football is going to be used as a vehicle to provide a sense of community and to break down racial and socio-economic barriers, enabling Kiwis to see that football truly is a game for everyone. This legacy plan is based around 4 pillars: whakamana, the power of opportunities; ara, pathways; mananatahi, partnerships; and lastly, tiaki, people and places. These will all be spoken about today by different people that they've resonated with. We've got lots to get through, so let's launch into the proceedings. Firstly, please welcome Danny Karatia Goddard from Ngāti Poneke to formally get the day underway.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Hoi no ka mihi rāno ki a tātou. If we had stepped 100 metres across the road, you would find yourself landing at Puputea Pā, Te Kāinga o Ngāti Poneke, the home of Ngāti Poneke. So it's in our custom here, before I offer a mihi, is to offer karakia. And if I look at my auntie down there, she'll say, for the karakia, Danny, everyone needs to stand up. So I invite you to stand for the karakia and for the opening hymn. We're going to do the opening hymn first, which is Tāmanga Ako Mārie. Tēnā tātou.
Yeah.
Rere hei moi a koe ia mātou I hoa e tohi ia mātou mahi katoa. Ko koe anō ki whakahai a mātou, ki whaikororia, ngā wāhi katoa ki a koe. Te rā te are ki whakapāinga mātou, te whakarewatanga o tēnei, te karehe, o te kapu, o te ngā wāhine, o te ao katoa. Tēnei mātou natu ki a tau mai manakitanga karonge tēnā mātou, tēnei haura, mā te karauti tō mātou ariki. Āmene. Tēnā tātou, e noho, please be seated. Hono o tēnei katua ki te whakatauni a koutou, mātou Ngāti Pōneke o te rā ta mana whenua, a te atiawa no Rongiterangi, haere mai, nau mai, tēnā tātou. Tēnā tātou mene tātou tini aitua, ko riro, ingarangi tata nei, o te rā tēnā koutou, me te kaupapa nāno no tātou I rauhi I tēnei haura. No reira, ka ngā mana, ngā reo, ngā iwi, I ngā wāhine toa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. My mind is really just a few words of welcome. I don't know whether it was in the plan or not, but I know Ngāti Pōneke are going to offer some songs of support for why we're here today, and I think you're going to entertain, have a couple of waiata. And while they're doing that, please sit back and enjoy. Nō reira, e te whānau, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Anō reira anō, nei nā te mihi atu ki a koutou nei. Hei whakaroni ki nā pīkākau nei, o te wāhi nei, hei whakanāhau i a koutou. Wa te atua koutou e mana ki e tiaki i nā wā katoa, i nā wāhi katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Kia ora tata. Whakamaua kia tīna.
Tīna!
Ai mea hui e.
Tai ki e.
Whakanui a. Purihia. Haere.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that performance as much as I did. Ideally, we would have all been together to share the celebration. However, COVID has meant that there are many people who are unable to join us. which I have a sneaking suspicion is why I might be here hosting. The team at New Zealand Football want to acknowledge and thank Capital Football, particularly Todd Bryant, for their support in helping today run smoothly. Working together with the federations is what our game is about, so thank you for all your support and for making today possible. New Zealand Football also acknowledge the many of you joining via live stream from across Aotearoa and the world. Thank you for making yourself available to join this special event. The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 is going to be one of the most significant sporting events ever held in New Zealand. And from that, we're going to create a lasting legacy for girls and women's football. I'd now like to welcome one of the people who was instrumental in bringing the FIFA Women's World Cup to New Zealand. The first female president of New Zealand Football, and someone that I'm very proud to represent the Manawatu region alongside, Dr. Johanna Wood.
Thanks, Anna. It's my privilege this morning or this afternoon, to start the proceedings with getting you to watch the video that we'll now show.
The FIFA Women's World Cup is coming to the shores of Aotearoa, New Zealand in 2023. Uniting Aotearoa, it offers an unprecedented opportunity to make our game bigger, better and bolder for everyone, especially for girls and women. Its legacy starts now. Our leverage and legacy plan will supercharge football in Aotearoa, grounded in two principles. Mana wahine, elevating the spirit and mana of wahine. And Tūranga Waiwai, our place of belonging, our foundation, our home. Built on four po or pillars. The power of opportunities, whakamana. Partnerships, mana ngatahi. Pathways, ara. And tiaki, people and places. Committed to the people and the land of Aotearoa, New Zealand, this plan leads the way by breaking barriers, paves the way for future generations, grows and strengthens the game through meaningful relationships, and creates a game for all and a place of connection. With Aotearoa united, legacy starts now.
Inga mana, inga reo, inga karanga maha, inga hou e whā. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. I didn't start in football as a player. When I was growing up, girls didn't play, so like Anna, I'm starting to show my age. My time in football started as a young child, going to watch my father play football at a club not too far from here, Petone, and watching my own children play back in the Manawatu. I got involved with football through my children, and particularly my son's team, as I was later asked to manage the men's first team of a local club. I was then shoulder tapped by someone in this room, Mr. Rod Pelosi, to stand for the Central Football Board in 2006, and was appointed chair in 2010. I was elected to the New Zealand Football Executive in May 2018 and elected as the first female president of New Zealand Football in April 2019. In March 2019, I was elected to the FIFA Council representing the Oceania Federation. At the end of 2019, New Zealand Football agreed with Football Australia to jointly bid to host the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. And at 4 a.m. on June 26, 2020, during lockdown and with my fire burning in the background, the As One bid won. This means we will be co-hosting the biggest sporting event ever to come to our shores here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Why have I told you this? Well, it's simple. It's to demonstrate that there are other pathways in football other than playing. There are opportunities to be taken, partnerships to be developed. There are people and places that can and will be impacted by what we do. But more importantly, football is a game for all, a game that connects us. We can lead the way by breaking through those glass ceilings, particularly for women. We can carve out pathways for those that come behind and make meaningful connections that enable us to grow and be strong and be proud. Getting to this point of launching Aotea United Legacy Starts Now hasn't just happened. The launch that we see here today has come from the voices, dedication and efforts of many. And I know that there have been many hours put into this legacy document and the launch of this legacy, and there have been multiple iterations. At the risk of missing someone out, I would like to thank Paula Hansen and Megan Kelly, who are based in Auckland and cannot be with us today, for pulling together these many voices and efforts into a living document which is accessible to us all. I would also like to thank Sport New Zealand, Central Government and the Human Rights Commission for their support of football and in particular of the Women's World Cup 2023. Our game plan, Aotearoa United Legacy Starts Now, is our vision for the legacy of the Women's World Cup 23. A legacy that everyone benefits from, and it is more than a legacy being left after the event. It inspires, strives for excellence, is innovative, and is an investment in our girls and women while standing proud and uniting in New Zealand. It outlines how we as Football in New Zealand and our partners will collectively bring our vision to life and celebrate the powerful impact of having FIFA Women's World Cup in our backyard. As you've already heard, Aotearoa United Legacy Starts Now is built on 4 pillars, or PO, which hold up the strategy, vision and identity of this plan. The power of opportunities, whakamana, is about leading the way or breaking the barriers. Pathways, ara, is about paving the way for future generations. Partnerships, mananatahi, is about growing and strengthening the game through meaningful relationships. And people and places, tiaki, is about a game for all and a place of connection. You'll hear more about these pillars shortly. Annalie Longo will speak to tiaki, Leo Burtis to manatahi, Lindsey Robinson to ara, and David Dome to whakamana. Aotearoa United Legacy Starts Now is looking to the future, starting now. But legacy is also acknowledging and paying tribute to the strong women who came before us and paved the way for our involvement in football. From being on the pitch playing, coaching or refereeing, off the pitch, organising behind the scenes, the administrators, the volunteers, those that washed the kits, those that fed us, the managers. It's about women leading and developing others and sharing their stories. There is untapped talent to be realised and nurtured in many different ways going forward. Those ways will suit you and your communities. This is on all of us. We will all have the opportunity to contribute and to make a difference. And it begins today with the launch of the Legacy for Women in Football, Aotea United. Legacy Starts Now. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thanks, Johanna. I think New Zealand football and Oceania as an entire region are really lucky to have someone of your calibre representing us on the world stage. The plan announced today has been developed with the support of multiple stakeholders that have invested in developing the game for women and girls. Deputy Prime Minister Grant Robertson was due to be here today, but has been called up to host the 1 p.m. briefing. So instead, we've got a video of him talking about why maximising the impact of this tournament is so important for our country.
Kia ora koutou katoa. While I regrettably can't be in attendance in person today, it's a real pleasure for me to be able to virtually congratulate New Zealand football on the launch of your FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 Legacy Starts Now strategy. New Zealand's hosting of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup is an unprecedented opportunity for Australia and New Zealand to showcase our commitment to women's sport and continue our track record of successfully hosting major sporting events. It's a huge milestone in raising the value and visibility of women's sport, growing female participation in sport, and creating new female sporting heroes and leaders. We're seeing hugely exciting developments in women's sport. Significant steps have been taken to champion women's sports by raising its commercial viability and building audiences through sponsorship and promotion, which in turn is helping grow the interest in women's sport all around the globe. The 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup set ratings records around the world, and the final was the most streamed Women's World Cup match of all time. No longer is it being treated as an adjunct to the men's event. Rightly, it's now being embraced as a premier showcase all of its own. We've got the opportunity here to take that success and build on it by delivering something unique and world class, while also creating a legacy for women and for football in our countries across Asia and Oceania. New Zealand and Australia sit in the geographical centre of two confederations that have huge untapped football potential. Unlocking this potential sits at the core of our vision for 2023. New Zealand and Australia have been at the forefront of gender equality, and this is reflected by New Zealand football. Our top footballers, regardless of gender, are now receiving equal working conditions. This includes pay parity, equal prize money, equal rights for image use, and parity across travel while representing New Zealand. Now, this shouldn't be groundbreaking for sport, but it is, and more of this needs to start happening. In 2023, we'll be putting the greatest players in the women's game at the centre of everything we do to ensure they can perform at their very best. This includes providing world-class infrastructure and up to 100 training sites. And what a fantastic legacy that is for our present and our future footballers. The Legacy Starts Now strategy is another important milestone in ensuring we're making the most of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow the game of football and to deliver better opportunities, experiences and development pathways for women and girls. This will be a tournament of firsts. The first ever co-confederation hosted FIFA World Cup, the first ever FIFA Women's World Cup in the Asia Pacific region and in the Southern Hemisphere. I know that New Zealanders will get out and support not only the football ferns, but also the players from all the nations competing for women's football's highest honours. I'd like to commend New Zealand football on its vision to deliver a remarkable FIFA Women's World Cup, as well as helping lead the way for greater female participation in football, for gender equity, and for creating strong role models for women in leadership. I'm looking forward to continuing our track record of hosting major sporting events and showcasing our commitment to women's sport.
Great, I think it was not spoken about explicitly then, but it's a really exciting time to be a female athlete in New Zealand. We've got 3 World Cups coming up with the cricket and the rugby next year as well. This legacy plan's been developed based around 2 founding principles. Mana wahine, elevating the spirit and mana of women, and tūranga waiwai, a place to stand, our place of belonging. To speak about how and why this was developed, we've got a video from New Zealand Football CEO Andrew Pragnell.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Welcome to everyone there in Wellington and to the many people tuning in through the live stream. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm a little locked down at the moment. As CEO of New Zealand Football, I want to first acknowledge those who so willingly committed their time, their passion and their vision to developing the plan and bringing Legacy Starts Now to life. Starting in 2019, the federations, Māori Aotearoa Football, Oceania Football Confederation, stakeholders across the game and the New Zealand government all work together to nurture and grow what is now Aotearoa United, Legacy Starts Now. Legacy Starts Now is grounded by 2 guiding principles. Mana wahine, elevating the spirit and mana of wahine girls and women. Tūranga waiwai, a place to stand, our place of belonging, our foundation, our place in the world, our home. These principles are incredibly important as they underpin the purpose and focused for the incredible opportunities and experiences ahead for our game here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. We will all elevate the spirit and mana of wahine while standing united and proud. Legacy Starts Now is the vehicle that puts these principles into action and provides the essence and the foundation for going beyond greatness. We believe the real legacy of co-hosting the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 will be the opportunities that are offered in the lead up to and well after the event. We will leverage these opportunities for football to benefit and inspire all Kiwis long after the tournament's final whistle is blown. We don't need to wait to see the legacy plan kick into action. With the Wellington Phoenix entering the A-League women's competition for the 2021-22 season, a professional pathway for the women's game in Aotearoa is now a reality and just one of the many, many legacy commitments. Over the coming weeks, months and years, we will see Legacy Starts Now bring to life many, many more opportunities that will elevate the spirit and mana of our wahine girls and women. The 4 pillars that hold Legacy Starts Now together recognise, acknowledge and celebrate the many important and valuable roles for our game. Our future is exciting and I'm excited by what is coming. I cannot wait for us to be all a part of this incredible journey. So let's all get together, let's supercharge football, let's be bigger, let's be bolder, let's be better in everything we do for everyone, but especially for wahine girls and women. Aotearoa United, Legacy Starts Now. Kia ora.
Exciting words from our CEO. Football should be a game for all and a place for connection. To speak about Tiaki, the People and Places pillar, please welcome football fern legend and newly appointed NZF Women's Development Manager, Annalie Longo.
Thank you, Greenie. I'm definitely more comfortable in boots and shin pads, but I couldn't be more proud to present a pillar of Tiaki, People and Places. This pillar in PO is all about accessibility, so connecting our people and communities and improving our places. We want to ensure that our membership represents the diversity of New Zealand. For me as a young girl growing up, I was the only girl on my team. For many years, I looked around, there was no faces that looked like me. It was a struggle, sometimes isolating. Although I love football and I love mixing it with the boys, I would have loved the opportunity to have more girls and women playing football. Currently in New Zealand, there's 1 in 5 females that play football, and we'd love to drive those participation numbers, so that's going to be one of our key goals. Accessible and equitable gender-neutral facilities across New Zealand, so selected stadiums and grassroots facilities. These things are really, really important in reducing barriers and again making football accessible for all. Investment made into grassroots football facilities, upgrades to really benefit women's football is really, really important. Safe spaces for all forms of play to be accessible and affordable. Our communities are proactive around safeguarding for children, young people and vulnerable adults. Clubs are inclusive and treat all people equally, regardless of gender. We do a voice of participant survey, and at the moment, it really shows a lack of, value and belief from women in sport, and we'd love for that to change and grow, that there's a real equality across the country. Facilities and clubs are allocated equally. When you look out on those grass fields and those, and you're out there, who's playing on the number 1 pitches, who gets to use the number 1 changing rooms, so shifting those mindsets that, it becomes equality and that, is accessible for all. Every school in Kura is supported to experience football and futsal. So that's enhancing our Goals for Schools program, championing our heroes of the game, our football ferns, people like Greenie who are inspiring, and really, celebrating those female role models we have are so important. Increase that visibility and really championing those heroes. Football in schools, so looking at our resources that we provide our schools. We provide them in Te Maori as well as English, making them accessible so anyone in football and futsal can play a part. And really, this pillar is all about a game for all and a place for connection. Thank you.
Thanks, Flea. I've always enjoyed playing with you, but I'm really excited to see you drive these initiatives forward, and New Zealand football are lucky to have you. The Legacy Plan is going to grow the game through building and strengthening meaningful relationships across Aotearoa. Here is Māori Football Aotearoa Foundation member, current board member, and former All-White Leo Burtos to talk about Mana Ngātahi, the partnerships pillar.
Kia ora tātou, Leo Burtos here, ex-New Zealand Football International, part of the undefeated World Cup campaign of 2010. Following the 2010 campaign, I felt the need to explore opportunities to continue to have a positive impact on our beautiful game in our beautiful country. After numerous discussions with like-minded people, we agreed there was a need to promote the game of football throughout our Indigenous community. Being Māori, we just wanted to see more Māori engaged in the game, more playing, coaching, officiating, administering, even just supporting and watching the game we love. And Māori Football Aotearoa was born. 10 years on, we now have numerous programs operating, including community football festivals, regional development programs, which has been a success, and of course, our national teams program, where we have opportunity for our wahine and tāne teams to compete against other Indigenous nations, such as our Trans-Tasman clash with the Australian Indigenous teams. Māori Football Aotearoa has also shown me how it can be a platform for Māori to learn about our heritage and our culture, and to also be proud to be Māori. With the Women's World Cup coming to our shores, this is a great opportunity to showcase not only our football, but our culture to the world. We're especially excited about the launch of the New Zealand Football Legacy Project, and in particular, the Mana Ngātahi Po partnership pillar, where we have the opportunity to work together with New Zealand football to help in providing more opportunities for Indigenous to have positive experience in the game and make meaningful connections through all levels and roles in our game. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
I think working in partnerships is something that Kiwis do so well, and I think we take it for granted that it's not like that everywhere across the world. So I'm really excited to see the partnerships pillar really take off. This tournament presents the chance to inspire the next generation of players, coaches, referees, and administrators. But there has to be a clear pathway for them to follow. To talk about ARA, the pathway pillar, here is NZF Referee Development Manager, Lindsey Robinson.
Thanks, Anna. Good to see you again, although a bit different circumstances at the weekend.
Yeah, I think you're telling me off.
Firstly, a real privilege to be here today, certainly in person, and I'd really like to thank all those who unfortunately are in Auckland and have worked on this plan to come together. So it's really, a really honour to be here in New Zealand. And really excited to see how and where this is going to go in terms of women's football and girls' football here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm from the northeast of England in the UK, so I'll try and speak slowly, so hopefully the Geordie accent doesn't come out too much. From the northeast of England, we're very passionate of football. Growing up, I was one of 4 people out there in terms of brothers and sisters, a twin sister, and 2 older brothers. In the northeast, football was very the norm for boys to play and to watch your brothers, school teams, and also adult seniors. Girls' football was not really kind of in the streets and certainly very difficult and a challenge to take place. My passion was still there though, certainly came from my brother. Those Sunday mornings, putting on those football socks, going to watch those cold games, but still enjoying watching him play and participate with him in terms of kicking the ball out in the streets and helping him. That passion, that first connection to the game of football has continued to me and presented to me in so many ways. My pathway actually in football came as a player, but very late on in my kind of career in terms of 16 years old, which I would present now is certainly a real bit of an eye-opener. At 16, though, I was very lucky to have a club that came to our school facility. And they actually then opened my eyes in terms of bringing women's football to the game and then bringing myself to play and participate. Like Greenie, I was always challenged towards the referees of the game and certainly was always wanting to question and maybe just ask them a little bit more of what I wanted from them on the day. Little did I know, fast forward, my career took me to actually being a referee of football. And it certainly presented some opportunities, some fantastic experiences, and meeting more new friends out there. The fact of the pathways that can create in terms of people, in terms of playing, coaching, administrators, and officiating, this legacy plan will promise to produce and increase and offer those challenges to be met and also look to improve those systems. The regular home fixtures program would give opportunity to give some connections of local people to the players, to the match officials and spectators to be able to create some connections in terms of how they want to see those players for the World Cup. A Trans-Tasman series has been promised and would certainly love to hope those connections of that bubble to be reopened and as we see those plans are coming forward, and that will be some great opportunities of those moving on. The visibility that this will show in terms of giving football to the normalities of boys, girls, and also anyone and spectators around the streets. We'd want to ensure that the pathway for those coaches, referees, and administrators is supported, and through that is offering clubs some help and support to give them opportunities and ensure that off the field involvement, as much as on the field, is supported out there. Life after football is really important, and those as a player, we need to ensure that their well-being is looked after and that we can ensure that pathway and enjoyment is still encouraged. Football, as we've heard from already today, can not only just be about putting those boots on to play, but also to be that support network on the side, and also, as we mentioned, regarding those friends we create. The connection to our game, as we all know, is really important, and what we want to include is within that is to ensure the connection is with improved national competitions, which will get the review finished and ensure that the pathway for those will support all. Football in New Zealand will be great, and football for this World Cup will show out there of what New Zealand can present and work in connection with Australia where this game will go. Okay,
I always enjoy when you referee the games, Lindsey, despite what I say. Players need opportunities to succeed at the highest level of the game. To speak about whakamana, the power of opportunities, please welcome Wellington Phoenix General Manager David Dunn.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora, welcome. First thing I'd like to note is, what's happened to Leo Bertos' hair? I don't ever remember him looking like that when he played for us. But kia ora, Leo, if you're still looking. Can't wait for you to come home at some stage. The program that he runs with Philip Pickering Parker, Aotearoa Māori Football, is a fantastic program. We've contributed a little bit in the past. We're working closely with them now. We have a Māori ambassador within the women's team that we've just introduced. We're working with Phil in that space. Terrific ambassadors for New Zealand football, Phil and Leo. And like I say, can't wait for them to work more closely as going forward now that we've got our first ever professional women's football team. When the excellent Paula Hansen, kia ora Paula, asked me to speak about whakamana, I did think about what it was that we had been working so hard to produce in the last couple of years in a women's football team, professional women's football team. And it struck me that at the Wellington Phoenix and as football administrators in general, we're only guardians of the sport for this generation of footballers that we currently look after. Football's a taonga that we all need to look after and treasure. My role, I take that very seriously. I know Johanna does as well in her role, and Andrew. The fact that we could bring on a women's football team after many, many years, Australians make, difficult bedfellows sometimes, Johanna, but the fact that we managed to get it across the line in conjunction with New Zealand football and in conjunction with the Women's World Cup was enormously satisfying for us as a club, for the owners of the Wellington Phoenix and for the city. And the fact that the Wellington will now host, hopefully very, very soon, a professional women's football game is enormously gratifying for everyone associated with the club. We're very proud of that. We're very excited by that. The group of people that Gemma has assembled in Australia is exciting. They are very young. It's a development side, but it's an exciting side. They had a game against Sydney FC at the weekend. They only lost 2-0. And when I was speaking to Gemma after the game, she said that the team did themselves proud. She's building a fantastic culture. The Sydney FC coach came after her after the game to congratulate her and say that if you play like that, you'll do very, very well in the competition. So what the resources that she's been given and the short time we've had to turn around this team, I think we can be very, very excited about the prospect of football in this country and the football for young women going forward. As a club, we're committed to the development of players. Paul Temple's here from our academy. Our academy, I believe, is one of the very, very best in the league, if not the best. We were one of the first ones to really kick on and start up an academy. We were told it was going to take 5 years to really start bearing fruit. It actually probably came in a couple of years ahead of that. The way that players have come through us to go on to Bayern Munich and into Europe, the Saarpret and Libby, a number of other players is extremely exciting. Now, if we create that, and we're committed to creating that on the women's side as well, Paul's already started. We have one team. We have coaches in there as well. We are committed to building out that side of the academy and to really producing, along with New Zealand football, helping to produce the very best young female football players this country can and take them all the way through to professional level. And who knows, after the Phoenix, they can go on. The game is developing, has been already spoken about. The game is developing in leaps and bounds in the United States and in Europe. We're trying to catch up in Australia and New Zealand, but we'll get there. But we are happy for players to go on to bigger and bigger things after the Wellington Phoenix, into Europe, into the United States, and to forge our careers, and then hopefully one day bring that back to New Zealand, where they can pass on those learnings and that knowledge back to young New Zealand footballers and develop them further even more. I think Sarai's going to speak after me. I mean, Sarai is an amazing ambassador. We've worked closely with Sarai on a number of initiatives for the club over the years. But the fact that we've got someone at the very highest level at FIFA, I don't think people realise in this country what Sarai does and what she's achieved to get to be the head of women's football for FIFA in the entire world. It's an amazing achievement. She's an incredible role model and someone that we should be justified to be very, very proud of. I'd just like to finish by saying that we are honoured to be part of this legacy project. We are certainly very, very committed to it. The owners of the club have been pushing for a women's team for quite some time. Rob Morrison, our chairman, has been working with the APL, who's now the owner of the league, and before that, Football Federation Australia, to get this across the line. It took a lot of hard work, but we're just thrilled that we've managed to do it, and that now we can be part of this legacy project for young female footballers going forward, and we can start really pushing up the top, very high level again to really challenge on the international sphere. So thank you, and we look forward to the Women's World Cup in a couple of years. Kia ora.
Thanks, David, and all the best for the season. We'll be your loudest supporters, and we look forward to welcoming both the men's and women's Phoenix teams back to Wellington in the new year. As David said, this plan's been developed with the support of FIFA. We've got a short video from FIFA's Chief Women's Football Officer, Sarai Behrman, to talk about how they hope the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 will change the game for women and girls across the entire Oceania region.
Kia ora koutou, ko Sarai Behrman, aho. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. As Chief Women's Football Officer at FIFA, I am delighted to be speaking to you on a hugely significant day for women's football in Aotearoa, New Zealand. New Zealand football has taken an important step and an exciting step today for the future of women's football, launching its new legacy strategy for the women's game, Legacy Starts Now. In just under 2 years' time, New Zealand, together with Australia, will co-host the next FIFA Women's World Cup. The tournament will cap off a remarkable 2 years of sport in Aotearoa, having also hosted the Women's Cricket and Rugby World Cups in 2022. The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 will without doubt be a watershed moment in the history of women's sport in the country, the wider Asia-Pacific region, and around the world. As the first ever FIFA Women's World Cup to feature 32 teams and the first ever co-hosted across 2 confederations, 2023 will provide the world's best female athletes with an opportunity to showcase their talent once again. As we saw in France 2019, the FIFA Women's World Cup will be an incredible platform for the women's game, one that will drive growth and development of women's football and goes far beyond what happens on the pitch. It will provide an opportunity to create new heroes and to inspire a new generation of women and girls to play football. Most importantly, though, the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023 will provide a chance for people to go beyond greatness and create a lasting legacy, both for women's football and wider society. Comprising of 4 pillars, Legacy Starts Now is an ambitious and exciting new strategy from New Zealand football that aims to realise the positive impact and legacy that can be left by hosting the FIFA Women's World Cup. Not only does it aim to unite stakeholders across the country, including the 6 regional federations, Māori Football Aotearoa, the Oceania Football Confederation, and the New Zealand government, as well as the wider football community. It will also celebrate the spirit and mana of our wahine. The strategy aims to break down barriers and build a bright and bold new future for the women's game, creating new pathways and opportunities through women's football for people and communities right across Aotearoa, New Zealand. Legacy Starts Now is a bold and exciting call to action, one that provides stakeholders across New Zealand with a clear purpose and direction to help realise the full potential and legacy of hosting the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2023. On behalf of FIFA, I would like to give a big congratulations to New Zealand football, and I look forward to working with you closely, with all of you, to help women's football in Aotearoa go beyond greatness in 2023. Thank you very much.
I think Sarai's captured it there, just the enormity of the World Cup, and while we in the football community understand that, I'm really excited for the rest of New Zealand to see how huge women's football is and how big it can be in this country. Working together, the game in New Zealand will be changed forever. Our game will reach more communities, more wahine, and provide opportunities and experiences that will change lives and have a lasting impact across the country. I, for one, am really optimistic and excited to see all of this come to fruition, and I hope young Kiwis across the country feel the same and can see themselves reflected in this plan. The FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 will leave a legacy for girls and women across Aotearoa. Let's hear from some of them.
I will watch the football ferns in the final World Cup. I will coach the future football ferns.
I will take penalties like Anna Lee.
I will have opportunities.
I will play like Hannah Wilkinson one day.
I will show my passion for football in my community.
I will play in a FIFA Women's World Cup.
I will encourage more women to play football.
I will referee in a Women's World Cup.
I will support my daughter to referee in a World Cup. I will feel safe playing football. I will make a difference.
I will make a game that's inclusive for all. I will
think that video captures everything that this World Cup is about, and I can't wait for it to get started. That's been a lot shorter and sharper than I think I'd anticipated, so you're welcome for having an hour back in your day. This brings our formal proceedings to an end, and so please welcome back Danny Karatia-Goddard for a final karakia.
Before this, every blessing on your adventures ahead. It's an exciting time. Nō reira, kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou ariki a heu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake, āmene. Tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora, Danny. A big thank you to all of those that have watched this event on the live stream. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and we can't wait to see many of you in person in 2023. We appreciate you all joining us today and would like you to please help yourselves to an Aotearoa United gift bag on the table at the back. Feel free to join us on the balcony and watch the football festival that's going to be out on the grass. There's a friendly mini World Cup being played by primary schools from across the Wellington region. Thank you again for coming, enjoy the festival, and have a safe trip home. Kia ora.